This is James Lupton for Pro Boxing Fans. Delighted to be joined with the unbeaten Harlem Eubank. Harlem, how you doing, my friend?
I'm very well, thank you, mate. Very well. How's it
Good.
going?
Very good, thank you, mate. Very good. Big fight coming up. Fight on Wednesday night. Martin McDonagh,
Yep.
our amateur rival. First of all, talk to us about the amateur rivalry there.
I fought him twice in the amateurs. He got the decision both times, and yeah, that's about it. The amateurs for me was a great kind of like learning experience. I started boxing at 18, so it was like jump in and learn quickly, and I would always put myself in with more experienced opponents to learn the craft and pick it up as quickly as I could, and then transition to the professional ranks. And in the pros, I've been learning, very, very fast, being around great fighters and coaches, and just working on the craft and picking it up. So I'm looking forward to displaying that process on Wednesday night.
Is he an opponent that you've wanted to fight in the pros to get any revenge, or is it never crossed your mind?
It hasn't really crossed my mind. My main focus is on developing as a fighter myself, so I don't really have any kind of malice towards other fighters, but it's going to be a nice one at the same time, to close that chapter as well.
Absolutely. You said there, obviously, in the amateurs, you always like to fight opponents who have more experience than you. Is it fair to say in the
Yeah.
pro game, Martin's a step up in opposition as well?
Yeah, for sure. He's got a lot of experience in the amateurs at a high level, and he's starting out in the pro ranks as well, and is an up and coming fighter. But I think the pro game's much more suited to myself, and I'm looking to show that Wednesday and put in a performance.
You say you're more suited to the pro game. What are the differences and what's the transition like between amateur to pro?
The amateurs is very, it's stand up straight, 1-2s and back off with your feet, and it's very kind of suited to almost touch and run kind of styles. Whereas the pros is, sit down on your punches, and it's more, there's more factors involved. You can't get away with just, flicking and moving your feet fast. There's more depth. There's more depth in different things, in different aspects of your game in the pros.
As I mentioned at the start of the interview, you are undefeated, 9-0. Martin has lost one. Again, 9 fights, 8-1 his record is. He's almost got nothing to lose in that sense. He hasn't got an O to protect. Does that make him more dangerous as an opponent?
Yeah, for sure. He'll be looking to, show people that he wasn't kind of defined by his loss, and he'll be looking to come back stronger. And I think I'll get a better version of him in this fight than the public have seen of him before.
You mentioned yourself as well. You've been in the gym around good coaches, good fighters. Just talk to me. Obviously, you're in Adam Booth's gym. You've learned around those guys in there. What's it like day in, day out in that gym around those people?
Oh, it's great. It's like a gym family. The coaches, understand the fighters very well, their personalities and how they react to advice and situations, and can guide you, based on how you receive the information and implement it. So yeah, it's very, very good. And obviously the fighters as well, being around them is next to none. A great amateur experience to soak up. Not having much myself, I only had 33 fights in the amateurs. It was like I said, I started at 18, so it was like a crash course. So I got my experience as quick as I could in there, in the deep end, and now I'm transitioning to the pros and adapting and learning from some of the best fighters, and soon to be champions.
There's a few of your gym mates prior going to their fights. They have fought during the pandemic era. They fought behind closed doors. How are you expecting it to be behind closed doors? Is it going to affect you at all in any way?
I don't think it will. I think I'm very streamlined, kind of focused when I'm in there. I'm just focused on the opponent and what's happening and what's playing out in the ring. Um, so everything else is kind of locked out from my mind. So I think it will be business as usual in terms of that scenario. Obviously, it's always great to have people watching and supporting, but in terms of what goes on in the ring, it will be very similar, I think.
Let's talk about your gym mates who have fought. Mick Conlon, first of all, Sofiane Tuchet, um, fairly comfortable in there. Routine performance,
Yeah,
a routine win for Mick, really. What did you make of the
yeah,
performance from him?
very, very good, very sharp. Um, I think he, I think he showed his levels. I think he was a standout performance of the night, and it was against the awkward southpaw as well. And yeah, he implemented his attack very smartly, um, and dissected a very awkward high level southpaw and stopped him late on. So I think it was a beautiful performance.
I know Adam Booth was saying a little while back to ourselves that he felt Mick was pretty much one or two fights away from world title. The pandemic probably has put a stop to that during this era. It probably will come back at when fans are back in. Do you feel he's ready for the world title next?
Yeah, for sure. I think if anything, that fight, a couple of weeks ago proved that, showed what level he is in dissecting an opponent that had fought at world level, and that had fought world level opponents. And like I say, Mick dominated that and showed that he's there now and he's ready for that shot.
Another one of your gym mates who the result didn't go their way, unfortunately, Shannon Courtenay against Rachel Ball. Talk about how did you see that? Did you feel Shannon had won that?
Yeah, I thought she won that fight. I thought um, I gave her nearly every round after the knockdown, and she done like massively well to come back from that knockdown in round one as well. And um, and I think thought she came back to dominate most of the rounds. The other girl, Rachel, was a great opposition as well. I mean, she was firing back. Both girls didn't stop throwing punches till the end, and but I thought Shannon, was negating punches and outscoring. But that's how boxing goes, I guess. You just got to keep moving forward.
After the loss, Shannon's taken herself off Twitter on social media. She's still on Instagram, but she's taken herself away from Twitter. And in that after that defeat, how is she? Have you seen her? Spoke to her? How is she since that fight?
I think I haven't had too much conversations with her since, but I think she's a smart girl. I think she will deal with it well and come back stronger. Um, she's got a good head on her. So yeah, she I mean, all the social media stuff, it's not great at the best of times. So it's good to take yourself away from it and step into the real world, and yeah, just get back in and come back stronger. That's what you got to do in them situations.
Absolutely. So that's a day to been out. Yourself out Wednesday. At time of recording this interview, it's tonight. Abbas Barrow is fighting, but also you've got
Yes.
Kelly in the gym. You've got a few other guys in there.
Yeah.
How has the gym been during the pandemic here and during the lockdown?
Well, you mean after it really? Because
Well,
obviously it was closed during lockdown, but yeah, since we've been back in, it's been great to be honest. Um, having that kind of enthusiasm back, and everyone's kind of getting dates. And obviously this was a last minute one for me, but I was just kind of in the gym with everyone else and riding off their energy. Mick, Abbas, and Shannon, but all with like fight dates. And so I've been training at their intensity and just developing. As I might have said before, I'm a martial artist, so I like to just stay developing my craft. I'm not just in the gym for camps and week periods. I'm in there every day, and I think that will show out through my career.
You mentioned there, obviously, when it was in lockdown, the gym was shut. How did you get through that time? You know, did you feel more appreciation for the gym when it did open back up again?
Yeah, for sure. The first day back was beautiful. I was just kind of like shadow boxing outdoors and just doing what I could to, doing what I could to stay consistent and stay motivated and stay improving. And the kind of day when, Adam said I could come back was it felt good. It felt really good. Almost the same feeling as when you get a fight date. That excitement just comes back. So yeah, it was a kind of weird time, but like you say, it was kind of like a euphoric moment when it was open again to come back in, and it felt like home again.
Absolutely. I want to move on and just talk a little bit about Chris Eubank Jr. Um, the whole Canelo Yildirim, obviously his name was sort of in a mix. Do you feel he deserves a shot at Canelo or Golovkin or a big name like that?
Definitely, for sure. I think if there's anyone that can bring the fire to any of them guys, that can bring the work rate and the resilience, I think it is Chris. Um, he'll provide an explosive and entertaining fight, against anyone, and them guys are, in a position to give the fire back as well. So I think it will be a very, very interesting and explosive fight against either of the top guys. Yeah, it will be one of the two of the hardest fights out there, I think, but two of the most exciting to watch as a fan.
As I mentioned, it's been ordered Canelo to face Anvi Yildirim. What do you make of that? There's talk that DAZN can reject it. They don't want to show it. But I spoke to Mauricio Suleiman and he said that their stance is they want Yildirim to face Canelo. What do you make of that fight?
Um, I mean, if you're Yildirim, you're excited to face the best fighter out there. If your other fighters looking in, you probably think, you probably say that other fighters deserve the shot first. So yeah, it depends where you're looking at it from, because you're buzzing if you're Anvi Yildirim, and yeah, if you're Chris, you're thinking I deserve that shot. So
Right, especially as he's,
that's how it is.
Chris stopped Yildirim a little while ago. So you'd obviously think that he would be almost ahead of him in the queue as such.
Yeah,
But as we know, that's not how
yeah,
it works in boxing.
exactly.
Obviously, he's been doing a bit of training with Roy Jones Jr. How do you think that's going to benefit him, learning from a legend like that?
I think it can only benefit you. Footwork, rhythm, explosiveness, all the things that Roy Jones Jr. brings, can only step up a fighter's game. Um, Roy Jones Jr. was one of the best, there is in boxing, and he could do things that a lot of people can't do in the ring. So wisdom from him is second to none.
And
So hopefully Chris can pick up them gems and use them and implement them in the ring.
absolutely. And very finally, Roy Jones Jr. obviously exhibition coming up himself against Mike Tyson. What are your thoughts and opinions on these exhibitions?
I think if it's an exhibition where they're both wearing, headgear, and it's not an all-out kind of assault, then I think it's good. If they can both display their skills without trying to deliver too much punishment, then it's good. But it depends if they're, if they've still got that killer instinct that they had when they were fighting, then I don't think it's a good idea, because when you take in shots and heavy shots, it's more damaging at that age, and it's, unnecessary. But if it's, just a display of skills from both sides, which people would be keen to see as well, I don't think people are necessarily looking to see a war from them guys. I wouldn't want to see that. But like I say, if it's just them displaying their skills, in a kind of relaxed manner, then I think it will be a good event. You know,
You mentioned the killer instinct, fighter's mentality. Can they draw the line to have just an exhibition?
that's the question. You know, maybe they won't even know that until they get in there. Um, so yeah, I mean,
Would you be able to?
you just got. I couldn't say until I was in that scenario. You know, at the moment I'm at the start of my career. You know, I need it. Um, but yeah, at the stage of their lives, you know, it's it's not necessarily, you know, something that they are kind of thinking about or switching to um, often. So it depends if it still comes out, you know, in their when they're under fire, which most likely it will, because the amount of time they train for and drilled it in. But yeah, we'll see. I'd like to see something where they're displaying their skills, and you know, you can appreciate the two of them. But I don't want to see them take each other's heads off.
Absolutely. Harlem, that's everything I want to ask you. I appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us on Pro Boxing Fans,
Quality.
and all the best for Wednesday.
Nice one, mate. Appreciate it.